Recently, I had an experience with credit card fraud that caused so much unnecessary stress and anxiety. I spent hours on the phone and in chats with my credit card company. I had to get two different cards before the fraud stopped, and I was so worried about what was going to happen to my money in my bank account. And I sometimes have the fear that it's going to happen again, right? And that's why I'm so excited to introduce You Are the Healer's newest sponsor, Aura, an app for protecting online data and personal information. Cleaning up my information not only helps reduce the amount of spam I get, but it protects me from hackers who could use this information to help them access things like my social media accounts, bank accounts, and other sensitive information. Protecting yourself and your personal information is a form of self-care. I swear. Go to my sponsor, aura.com/healer to get a 14-day free trial and have peace of mind knowing your information is safe. Again, that's Aura, aura.com/healer for your 2-week free trial. You Are the Healer is sponsored by BetterHelp. Therapy is mandatory because there's absolutely nothing wrong with seeking help. I think every person who walks this earth needs therapy, honestly. I'm stoked to be connected with BetterHelp to offer affordable and accessible therapy resources. The link is in my show notes, and you can also go to betterhelp.com/healer. That's better, HELP.com/healer. Now let's get into this episode. Hello and welcome back to You Are the Healer. I'm Sydney Rinderknecht, your host, where I use my career experience in working in mental health as a psych nurse, on top of my life experience being a human being having her own mental health journey and struggles, to help you help yourselves. This is the podcast where I provide you education, motivation, storytelling, not only to decrease stigma and help everyone realize that they are not alone in their struggles, but to encourage people and to encourage you that you are your own healer. You are the person that can know you and take care of you better than anybody else. And this podcast is where I put anything related to that concept here for you to consume and to learn and to grow and to share with other people. So thank you so much for being willing to hear this message and taking time out of your day to listen to something healing for yourself, but also for the collective, because we are all connected. So any effort that you make to heal yourselves is collective. Other people are going to reap those benefits. So selfishly, I thank you because healing yourself helps heal other people. And before I dive into the content of this episode, I want to promote the ways that you can help me and share this message. So I'm on all streaming platforms. So that's YouTube, Spotify, Apple, literally any place you can get your podcast. You Are the Healer is there. And you can support me in a variety of ways on any of those platforms. You can like and subscribe on YouTube, leave a comment, right? That really boosts the algorithm. On Spotify, you can also leave comments. You can also subscribe and leave a rating. You can share the episode with the Spotify link and post it somewhere like your Instagram story or text it to somebody that you know. And then with Apple, you can leave reviews. That's a really good way to do that. And I just really want to thank you for supporting You Are the Healer and the healing message, because my main intention with this podcast is to have it reach as many people as possible. So any effort that you take to share a link with someone who you think would really benefit from hearing it, to post it to your story, to subscribe, to engage in any way kind of helps the algorithm promote the message that much further. And all I want to do is help people help themselves. So thank you for sharing the message, because I could not do this without you. And I do really quickly want to promote my coaching business. So I have a website. Everything's linked in the show notes. You can actually book a free 30-minute consult with me and see if we're a good fit to work together. You can also book an intake appointment if you're already ready to go. And this is basically where I, in a one-on-one container, can help you uncover whatever you'd like to uncover about yourself. I don't want to say an expert on mental health, but a lot of my professional experience is in that. So I can coach you absolutely on your mental health. However, things are all connected to your mental, your physical, your spiritual health. So we can tackle any component of your life and it's all going to trickle down. You can support my coaching business by clicking the link to my website and booking a session there. Another really quick and easy way to support me is by using those free trials from my sponsors, BetterHelp and Aura. That's a really quick way you can support me. Okay, so enough of the self-promo. Let's get into today's episode. This is the spice of play and how hobbies can heal us. And I'm very excited for this episode because a lot of the stuff that I've talked about on my podcast is like that dark and heavy stuff, right? We did an entire season about the dark side, okay? And even some of the episodes in the season of spice is like this spice can be really it can be really fiery and painful, right? When you're neurodivergent and queer, like it's not always fun and games, but I really want to talk about hobbies because hobbies are all fun and games. And I want to say that like healing can be fun and healing can be enjoyable. And that isn't always something that I talk about on this podcast because I think it's so important to talk about those really heavy topics just to remind people that they're not alone. And at the same time, we're in the season of spice. Okay, spice doesn't have to be painful. Spice can just be delicious, right? Spice can just be sweet and yummy and you want to savor it. So that's what we're going to be talking about in this episode. We're going to be talking about what hobbies are, why are they important? Why should we have hobbies? Why do you care to listen to an episode about hobbies? I'll tell you. And how we can discover our own hobbies and how we can be curious. And also how to overcome some of the barriers that our society places on not prioritizing hobbies and really living in a society that values productivity over everything else. When a hobby itself is any activity pursued for pleasure and enjoyment that is during your free time. So it's not during, working hours. It's not your job. It's not your occupation. You don't necessarily make money on it. You can. That'd be like the dream is to find something to make money off of that you do enjoy. But a hobby is just for fun and enjoyment during your free time, right? And so we live in a society that really values productivity and working super hard. Prioritizing your hobbies and making time for play is almost like an act of rebellion against that narrative. It's saying, actually, I don't need to produce all the time to be worthy. I'm just going to do this fun thing that I enjoy just because I enjoy it and I deserve it. It's a form of rest. It's a form of self-care. And so hobbies, really any activity that you enjoy, that you do for fun in your free time. So I'm going to list a bunch of examples, kind of think of what comes up for you. What are some hobbies that you have that you enjoy? And it's okay if you're like, oh my God, I don't have any hobbies. We're going to get into that. So things like sports, like recreational sports. I wrote chess. I've been actively playing a patient at work in checkers right now. And I'm like, I know that chess and checkers are different, but like the strategy and time you can spend developing your game, definitely a hobby. Writing, listening to music, playing music, creating, reading, skiing, snowboarding, going to comedy shows, learning new languages, letter writing, puzzles, cooking, painting. Like there are so many different ways to play and to create and to have fun that aren't for any purpose besides pleasure. And all of these things, like your hobby can have other benefits, but the main reason you're doing it is because it brings you pleasure, it's fun, and it's enjoyable. So why is it important to have hobbies? I think something that really resonates for me is having a work-life balance. If you don't have hobbies, if you don't have activities that you're doing just for fun and you're working all the time and you're like not doing anything else, there's like no balance there. Like part of working and having a job is so that you have the free time and the money to do things that you enjoy. And so if you're not prioritizing hobbies, it's like you don't really have a life outside of work. And I think that can be really difficult, especially, if your job is one of those where you're working over 40 hours a week or it's really time consuming and it really takes up a lot of your mental capacity. That means it's even more important to prioritize play and fun and relaxation and just doing things for the pure joy of it. The more that we have on our plate, the more important it is that we are doing things just for ourselves, that we are doing things that bring us joy. Because if you're working super, super hard and not balancing it with anything, you're going to burn out, you're going to crash. It's not sustainable. And so even if you are the busiest person in the world, it's very important to make time for play and for hobbies. So I wanted to talk about the benefits of hobbies on our mental health. I think in a general sense, doing something for fun, it's going to activate some dopamine in your brain and you're going to feel good, right? I feel like that's the only reason you really need. But let's get into a little bit of the science behind how hobbies affect your mental health. So the first thing is stress relief. Prioritizing your hobbies and doing something fun lowers your cortisol levels, which is the stress hormone in your body. So it's going to regulate your nervous system because you're not producing that fight or flight chemical in your body and you're able to de-stress. Just think about like doing something that you love. Like I'm thinking like playing piano at the end of a long day, like it just totally relieves your stress. I was actually just talking to my mom about how baking is so good for stress relieving. And she told me that when she was in her 20s, she was unemployed for a bit of time and actively just baked all the time because it really helped with her stress. And even like, I mean, hobbies are so great because think of something like baking, like you're doing something that's stress relieving and helping yourself. And then now you have like muffins for the whole week. Like it's just, there's so many benefits. Okay. The next one is mindfulness. So prioritizing hobbies and doing something that gets you in like a flow state into your creative mind, something where you're just doing this just for fun, it helps you be present in whatever activity you're doing. And it can really break you out of any cycles of rumination or anxious thoughts. Another benefit of hobbies on your mental health is confidence. There is nothing better than seeing progress in an area of your life, especially like concrete progress. So for example, I've been running the last couple of years. It's something that I've really been enjoying. I mean, for a whole number of reasons. I could literally do an entire episode on running. And one of the reasons why I really like running is because I can see myself improving in something. There are numbers that can show, okay, I'm progressing, I'm improving, I'm getting better at something. And that can really be great for your confidence. Another benefit of hobbies on your mental health is expression. Okay, I know I'm a very sensitive person and my emotions are very intense, but I cannot imagine a life where I can't express myself. I can't imagine not having like 8 different activities to express myself. It is so good to just get your experience, get your emotions, get how you feel out, whether that's writing, whether that's, drawing, painting, singing. Our emotions are vehicles for creativity and expression, and they're not meant to just sit in our bodies. I think of emotion as like energy in motion. And so if you can use your emotions to express, whether it's talking, there's so many ways to get it out. And that is so beneficial in your mental health, is just not keeping it inside. And also when you share things through your creativity, through your expression, you can connect with people through them, which is really cool. And that's kind of the last benefit of hobbies that I want to talk about, is the sense of community that can come from practicing your hobbies or prioritizing them. And so that's just having shared interests, right? Like I'm on a recreational volleyball league, and definitely a hobby. It's not like a sport that I'm taking seriously. It's very much just for fun. But I think of all of the community and the connection that I've cultivated and experienced from having a shared activity with some of my friends. And it's so beneficial, and we really need community, especially like the way our government and society is going. Spending time with other people, connecting. I mean, there's so many benefits to it, and our world is just increasingly lonely. Having something that you enjoy can be such a vehicle for connection. I think that that's really cool, that doing something you love can bring you together with other people who also love the thing that you love. And it's great for connection. It's great for belonging. And I also quickly want to talk about the importance of play, because I think as kids, we have unstructured playtime, right? Like we have recess, you have summer vacation, so you're off for long periods of time. Before technology really took over everything, like you would use your imagination and you would make up games and you would play them, or you'd like jump rope during gym. Like there's so many ways that we played as kids, and as adults, we really don't have like structured playtime. I mean, it's a stretch to think about like the gym as a playground. Sometimes I think about it that way, but honestly, some people just go to the gym to go to the gym. They're not enjoying it, right? And so play is not just for kids. It is a biological need for everybody. And it's really important as an adult to prioritize playtime, especially if you're working so much, because increasing activities that bring you joy and spark like dopamine and serotonin, that can actually make you more productive in your job. Not that I value productivity all that much, but balancing your life with work and play can make you work even better and can make other areas of your life shine too. Play activates the brain's reward system, so it boosts dopamine, it supports creativity, and like play is just fun. Like I feel like I don't need any other reasons besides like play is fun, and like why would you not want to have fun? I am a person, I really value fun. I think fun is like the best. I also realize that I'm in my young 20s, so like maybe not everybody's going to value fun as much as I do, and that's okay. Play is also how we process emotions. There's like play therapy that a lot of really young kids will do, because they're not quite old enough to like benefit from talk therapy. So you can actually receive like healing and therapeutic benefits from play therapy, which I think is really cool. Play is also how we explore our identity. We can also heal trauma through play. And again, it's fun. So why not? Before we get into the next part of the podcast episode, I just want to say that I finished the episode, but I forgot to hit record. So this is my second take on this episode. I just had to say that because I'm a little frustrated right now. Okay. So we've talked about the effects of hobbies on our mental health, and I just want to take a second and say that healing can be fun. Okay, I feel like a lot of my episodes, I have talked about really deep, dark, heavy stuff, which is very important to address. And at the same time, healing doesn't have to be this like laborious, backbreaking work. Healing can be fun just just to be fun, okay? When it comes to discovering our hobbies, the thing I want you guys to lead with is curiosity. We're going to lead with curiosity over pressure, okay? You are allowed to try something new and absolutely suck at it. You are allowed to be a beginner. You are allowed to taste different activities until you find one that you like, okay? You're allowed to suck at something, you're allowed to be inconsistent, and you're allowed to start at any age. Something that really inspires me is most marathon runners that hold records are in their 40s and 50s. Okay, so you are not too old to be doing anything, okay? You can be a beginner at any age, okay? So I'm going to ask you guys some questions to get the gears turning as to what are some hobbies that you enjoy, what are some things that you can start to prioritize. So I want you guys to think about the last time you did something just for fun. The last time that you did something just for fun, okay? And if it's been a long time since you've done something like that, then you can use that as information to get a little more curious. Maybe, why am I not prioritizing things that are fun? Why am I not prioritizing enjoyment, right? And these are things like any hobby is not for productivity. It's not for money. It's not for validation. You are just doing it just because. Another question I have to get your curiosity going is, what lights you up for no reason at all? What lights you up just because? And I think of swimming for me. I love to swim. And I'm not talking about like lap swimming. I mean, I do enjoy that. I'm talking about literally like doing flips underwater and just like holding my breath and doing handstands and playing mermaids with my friends. Like that is something that just lights me up. I love doing it. I could do it for hours. So what are some things that you can do for hours on end? What are things you can do where time passes by so fast? You're like, what? It's already been this long. And what I want you guys to do is I want you to make a list of all of the things that you enjoy doing. And this way, if you have yourself some free time, then you can look at the list and say, oh, I'm going to do a puzzle right now because I have some time. I'm going to do something just for me, just for fun. Okay. Some more questions to explore activities that you might enjoy is, what did you love as a kid before anyone told you it was silly? What was something that at a young age you really liked to do? What's something that you've always wanted to do but felt too embarrassed to try? And what are you drawn to watching others do? That can be a great clue for things that you enjoy is, what do you like watching other people do? Or what do you see other people doing and you're like, man, I wish I could do that. Okay. And I want you guys to follow like those little sparks of interest too. This doesn't have to be like the most important thing. This could be like, oh, I've always been curious about painting. Like maybe I'll try a class, right? And even if it's random, even if it's weird, just follow that curiosity, okay? Like life is meant to be enjoyed. And that's really a big foundational piece of the Season of Spice is it's not just surviving, right? It is, what are those flavors that you enjoy? What is a flavor you want to savor? What is something that is delicious to you? And how can you prioritize that in your life? Because we are not just here to survive and to get by. We are here to enjoy life. Like if you think about the concept of like being born into the human experience, like it's just really interesting, and there's so many avenues that you can explore, and there's so many activities you can try, and there's so many ways to enjoy your time here. I know I spend a lot of this podcast talking about things that aren't fun and are very heavy, and at the same time, like healing can be fun, healing can be liberating, healing can be prioritizing pleasure and enjoyment. Like it doesn't have to be hard, laborious work. It can be fun, it can be enjoyable. So I just want to encourage you to try anything that brings you enjoyment. Okay. And I want to finish this episode talking about some barriers to prioritizing fun, to practicing your hobbies and things like that. So we're going to get into like common excuses and common blocks to unlearn. So that way we can take the time and energy to nourish ourselves just because, instead of letting these limiting beliefs or these excuses run our lives. So the first thing that can get in the way is the thought of, I have to be good at it for it to count. No, you don't. You can be a beginner at any age. And I'll share a story. So recently I've gotten into hula hooping as like a flow art. So if you've ever been to like a music festival, you might see people like dancing with hula hoops. I just recently got into that in this last year. I rented a hula hoop at Electric Forest, shout out. And I have never picked up a hula hoop in the way of flow art up until last year. And I remember just being so bad, but honestly having a really good time because it's like, I'm just doing this for fun, man. Like, I'm not here to like win any awards with my hula hooping. I just find it a fun way to move my body. And it's so cool because like you can watch yourself get better at something. And so I remember when I rented the hula hoop, I was talking to the guy that like checked me out and I was like, do you have any like beginner tips? Like I literally don't know what to do besides like hula hoop around my waist and like my arm. And he showed me this trick and I just practiced the trick over and over and now I can do it pretty seamlessly. So it's just like, it's so cool to watch yourself like grow and get better at something just for funsies. Like, yes, watching yourself grow and improve in other ways is so rewarding and nourishing and can be great for your mental health. And it's also great just to be like, oh, I'm like way better at this task than I used to be. And it's just for fun. Okay. And it's just really cool to see that progression. Like, I think of my running too. Like, by no means am I, good at running, but I have progressed so much throughout the years of running. And it's really cool to look back and be like, wow, I've come so far. Like, I've spent this time and energy improving my craft, improving something. And it's really cool to look back and feel like proud of yourself for how far you've come for anything. And especially something that's like silly and for fun and just for yourself, because it's like, wow, look at all of this time I've poured into myself. The next excuse or block that I could go off on is I don't have time. This, for some reason, makes me so angry hearing people say this, I don't have time. Because first of all, like, we all have the same amount of time. So to me, it's almost like that doesn't even make sense. Like, I have the same amount of time as you do. So whenever I hear people say, I don't have time, what it really translates to in my head is I don't make the time. So if you're saying I don't have time to do this hobby every week, the question I want you to ask yourself is, why are you not prioritizing your own enjoyment? Why are you not prioritizing play in your life? Because you could find the time. You could make it work, right? But why are you not prioritizing it? Because if you're not doing something because you don't have the time, it's not high enough on your priority list to you, because other things are. Some things are finding the time, so you do have the time. Ugh, it just makes me mad, that whole excuse. And I want to say that, like, it doesn't have to be hours on end. This could be 10 minutes once a week of just doing something just to spark joy, okay? And I want you to notice how much your life changes with even just 10 minutes a week. Like, I recently started playing piano again, and I don't do it for very long at all because I don't know how to keep going. Like, I use my Duolingo, and so I only do like 5 or so minutes a day, but like, oh my gosh, the creative juices just get flowing and it really boosts my mood. I'm like, wow, I did that for myself. I'm getting better at something. Like, it's so rewarding when you find the time to prioritize play, to prioritize your own enjoyment, because you are deserving of fun. You are deserving of doing something just to do it because you like it. Like, not everything has to be so serious, okay? Not everything has to be tied to your productivity and making money and all of this. Like, you can just do stuff just to do stuff because you like to, okay? I think a lot of times we like overcomplicate things in our heads. Like, it's not that serious. First of all, like, we only have a certain number of years on this earth. Like, please prioritize yourself and prioritize feeling good, because no one else is going to do that for you. And another limiting belief that comes to prioritizing hobbies is it's a waste of time. Some people really might feel like prioritizing those things that bring you joy is a waste of time. But I want to say, like, joy is medicine. Like, joy can heal you. And so it's never a waste of time if it's something that's good for you, if it's something that makes you feel good. And if we're going to use the whole productivity, if that's really motivating you, prioritizing play, even just 10 minutes a day, will increase your productivity, because you're taking a break, you're stimulating your brain, you're getting the creative juices flowing, you're releasing dopamine. So like, if it's a waste of time, then why is it making you more productive? Okay, so that's a big old excuse. The next barrier I have to prioritizing play is lack of motivation. This can be really hard if you're struggling with burnout. If you have a lot on your plate already, it can be really hard to motivate yourself to be like, well, I'm going to craft this week. You're like, I don't even have the energy to go to work and to come home. Like, I'm exhausted. And that's just when I want you to remind yourself that, like, there are so many benefits to prioritizing play and to practicing your hobbies that you will likely feel less burnt out and less exhausted when you add your hobbies into your plate. Having work-life balance is so important. And if you are just working the day away every day and you don't have a life outside of work, you are going to feel depleted. And so while adding something into your routine can feel like extra work, it's going to help you immensely. So I just want to say, if you're struggling with lack of motivation, you feel like you already have too much going on, adding something that you enjoy just because you enjoy it will actually help you with those feelings of burnout and exhaustion, and it'll improve your motivation. And the other barrier that happens is lack of consistency. And so when you're trying anything out when you're new, it's okay to be inconsistent. It's okay to just try it here, try it there, really like find what activities light you up and that you really, really enjoy doing. So in the beginning, when you're trying to find something that you enjoy, it's okay to be inconsistent. It's okay to be inconsistent in general, but inconsistency is a big barrier, because life happens, right? Life gets in the way. How are you supposed to explain to your boss, like, oh, I can't work today because I really want to prioritize my dance class? Like, that's not how like life works, unfortunately. So with the lack of consistency, that's a really real barrier in our day and age. And so just some tips I have for helping with lack of consistency is time blocking. Especially for my ADHD brain, time blocking has been really great because in my calendar, like I have time allotted for certain things. So let's say you want to go on one run a week, or do like one hobby a week. You can set an hour into your calendar every week. So that way you prioritize it. So that way, like you'd have to work to move it around. So that is something that really helps with consistency is putting it in your calendar, time blocking it just like you would any appointment or shift at work or things like that. Just having it down can be really helpful. Another thing for lack of consistency is having some type of accountability buddy. So having someone that will check in with you and say, hey, did you do this week? Have you made any art this week? Like just checking in. And even it can be really nice to have an accountability buddy where you just share what you create with them. So like, look at this painting I made this week, or read the short story I wrote. And that way, like other people can enjoy your expression and your creativity, and they're seeing, okay, you're prioritizing it. Nice job. So that's like a 2-for-1 right there. And another really great part of hobbies is the community that you can cultivate from that hobby. And so going to like a weekly yoga class, that will help you be more consistent because you're with other people, you're in a community. And so it's like you're showing up not just for yourself, but for other people. That's like team sports, right? Like if you have a weekly team sports event, if you don't show up, like you're letting the team down. And so having that community and having other people involved with your hobbies can really be helpful in keeping you consistent, because if you don't feel like doing it for yourself, maybe you can show up for somebody else and that can kind of get you to do the activity, especially when you're struggling with motivation and feeling really busy and like you have a lot on your plate. I just want to leave you guys with some of these questions just to kind of get your gears turning. Is what if your silly little hobby is the thing that gets you out of bed in the morning? What if your silly little hobby actually heals you and transforms your life? What if your silly little hobby ends up becoming your full-time career path? I don't know. That'd just be really cool. So there is benefit. There's so much benefit to prioritizing play in your hobbies and doing things just because you like them. There's so much benefit that comes with doing your hobbies. I want to leave you guys with a little bit of homework. I hear from some of my listeners that they like to have a little task or an activity to do at the end of an episode. And so I want you guys to make a playlist. And so this is not a playlist of music. This is a play space list. So this is a list of all of the activities that you like to do for play. All of the, it can be things that you spend a lot of time doing or things that you've never even tried. Just activities that you're interested in, things that you can try the next time you have some free time. So that way, whenever you find yourself bored or maybe you have a couple hours of time, you can pull up your playlist and be like, oh my gosh, I'm going to crochet. Oh my gosh, I'm going to teach myself piano. I'm going to sing. That way you have a list that you can come to whenever you want to just have fun and feel joy and enjoyment. And then the extra piece of homework, if you really are looking to prioritize this, is I want you to find a community-based activity based on one of your hobbies. I want you to go to a dance class. I want you to go to a yoga class. Do something where you can do your hobby with other people in a community sense and just see how you feel. I have found community events so awesome. So I used to go to a lot of salsa, bachata, and cumbia classes, and that is like huge community-based activity. You're dancing with like everybody, and it just really brings people together over something that you enjoy. I think of things like skiing and snowboarding, how many friends that I've made because we share this hobby and this interest. And so my homework for you guys, make a playlist of all of the activities that you really enjoy. And if you're listening on Spotify or YouTube, comment some of the activities that you enjoy. I'd just love to see what brings you joy. And then join a community-based activity based on that hobby and just see how you feel. And I would so love if you could take a picture of you doing that activity and tag the @youarethehealer Instagram. Even just send me the picture and be like, oh my gosh, look, I went to an art class this week because of the episode. Like things like that are so cool to me. I love hearing people's thoughts on the podcast and their experience with it. So that is all I have on hobbies today. I just want to remind you guys that you are worth feeling good, and it's okay to feel good. And you can be bad at something, and you can be a beginner. And it's not that serious. Okay, spoiler alert, it's not that serious. I love you so much. Thank you so much for listening. Show me support on whatever platform you're listening to by liking, subscribing, leaving a review, leaving a comment. You know the deal. And until next time, may you be well.